like I'm struggling with worrying, anxiety. Like I'm sitting here praying to God, like I need your peace. I need you to, help me cast out all my anxiety and all my worries and this and that. But in reality, I still be worrying sometimes. So I go to somebody that I know that I can trust and that I know will pray for me, pray with me, all these things.
I feel like this is being okay with having all three. It's okay to talk to God and wait on whatever it is that he needs to tell you so you can move forward. Two, it's okay, especially in the Black community, to go talk to a therapist. That doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you vulnerable. Because I know, like you were saying, why would I talk to a stranger about my business?
Mm-hmm.
Half the time you talking to the wrong person about your Let's do this.
Sorry, y'all. All right. And my eyes are watering. Oh, God. Okay. And we're back. And we back. And we back. And we back. And we back. We are back with another episode of the You're Done podcast.
Yes.
It's your girl, Big Desto, not the little one.
And be more. Nevertheless. Y'all already know that though. But I'm gonna do it every episode. Just to remind you.
I feel like we ain't recorded in 2 weeks.
That's cause she be over there trying to make homemade biscuits and stuff. She ain't never do that kind of stuff.
That is not why we ain't record.
That is why. I'm just saying she wasn't making homemade cookies and stuff when she lived here. She become a wife, move away. Now she just the modern day Martha Stewart. I'm just not understanding. But evolving. Go ahead with what the topic is.
I'm just evolving and growing. Speaking of that,
we're happy for her.
Right. Well, not speaking of that, but I feel like this topic is going to be a good topic because, I feel like it's something that, not something that I've struggled with, but it was just something that so I used to feel like I had to pick in a sense. Like, if I'm going to say that I trust and believe that God is going to do things for me, I just need to do that. So why am I taking my problems to people? It's like, I don't know. I have this personality or this characteristic about myself that it's like, when I do something, I take it to the extreme or I don't do it at all. So like, I'd be like, oh yeah, God said I need to depend on him and this and this and that. So I stopped talking to people about my problems altogether. And then I'm sitting here stuck with them and I'm like going back and forth and and yeah, I pray about it, but it ain't no wrong going to confide in a friend or your husband or whatever. And so the topic for today is, and I came up with this, I was finna TMI. I'm gonna do it anyway. We all do it. I was on the toilet. What you gonna do about it?
Not the thinking throne.
Huh? Oh yeah, I was sitting on the throne.
I say not the thinking throne.
I was sitting and I was reading my Bible. And I was reading. Look. And he didn't say when or where I could do it. And then I ain't gonna lie, I told Kayla this, I think, and I said, do you think it's bad that if I bring my Bible in the bathroom? Like, is that nasty? Okay, am I telling on myself?
God with you at all times, but it's just a crazy thought process. This girl is receiving the word and releasing the shit.
Because it'll start with me using like the Bible app, right? And so that can only, it got to a point where it was like, okay, this is getting real good. I need the real thing. So I had to, whatever. And then you don't know, another TMI. I don't go to the bathroom as often as I should. So when the opportunity comes, I ain't passing it up. Okay, that's enough about my bowel movements. My bad, y'all. That was nasty. That's nasty. Be a lady.
Lord, what is happening today?
I still ain't told y'all
what happens when you don't. No, you haven't. But this is what happens when you don't record on the day that you usually record on, because we about 5 minutes in.
Right.
All y'all know for today is who we are and an update on her body.
Well, first season, you was telling the people I was constipated, so I told y'all I'm evolving and growing. I'm on the toilet now.
And we still haven't been sponsored, but we getting there.
I'm getting there. But yes, okay, the topic, y'all, the topic. My bad. So the topic is called, so I was reading James, the book of James at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So the topic that I wrote in the notes, it says when God, therapy, and the group chat all work together. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you what I mean by that. So I always write like a title and then like a little quick synopsis of what I mean by that because I be forgetting. So it say real healing takes a village and why having the right people around you is very important. Right? Right. I think
Yes.
we talked about that before on the podcast too, of just like having the right friends. And I think it was on that episode when we talked about like when you're growing, everybody can't go with you or something like that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about? So yeah, it was something like that. But I put the verse. And I'm gonna read y'all the verse and then we can dive into the see what Brittany think and all the things. So the verse is James 5:16. And it says, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be blessed. I mean, I can't read. I'm going to start over. Okay. Confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The earnest prayer of a righteous person has great power and produces wonderful results. So, what I was getting from that is, like I said, I would get to a point where it's just like, I'm struggling with this and this and that. I'm just gonna pray about it, X, Y, and Z. But that gave me confirmation that it's okay to be like, hey, I feel like when I struggle with something and I kind of know that it's bad, I shy away from the fact of like admitting that to somebody besides God. Because it's like, God ain't gonna judge me, but these people might judge me. So I try to shy away from the fact of like sharing too much because I don't want them to like build their own opinion based on what I'm struggling with.
Yeah.
Obviously they're not saying go out there and share your whole life story with a complete stranger who whatever the case may be, but I feel like if you're sharing these informations with the right people, that's fine because we are here to help one another. Like how am I going to get help from those around me if I'm keeping everything to myself, right? Yes, I
Yeah.
pray, but I find myself, I'll be going to court and be like, I got a confession, I've been struggling with something. And even if it's like, okay, and the thing is, I mean, yeah, I'm a sinner, I sin, but I feel like it don't be nothing so like life changing, but it's just be like I'm struggling with like out or worrying, anxiety. Like I'm sitting here praying to God, like I need your peace. I need you to, help me cast out all my anxiety and all my worries and this and that. But in reality, I still be worrying sometimes. So I go to somebody that I know that I can trust and that I know will pray for me, pray with me, all these things. And two is but where two or more are gathered, the Lord.
Mm.
Okay. So I feel like I'm learning to be more open with what I struggle with. And that's what I feel like James was saying right there. What you think?
When you first put the topic in there, I was like, now what we gonna talk about? Because I clearly wasn't in the bathroom with her when this thought process came about. I tend to voice message her my thought process, so
Right.
she just put titles, and I be like, okay, what's the thought process? But and kind of looking at everything, I took it as another form of healing. I think it's all about healing, and there's not one way to do it. But I'm also like that because I believe that God can do what no man can. So when I tend to feel like I went to my friends first before I went to God, then I'm like, did I put, what is it, like the cart before the horse or buggy before the horse, whatever it is? And so I tend to then feel bad. It could be very good advice, but then I'd be like, but if I take your advice and God say something different, I ain't even talk to, so
Right.
you kind of get in your own head. You get in your own head about it. But the Bible also says, like we're not meant to be on this world alone. So,
Mm-hmm.
and if that was the case, you wouldn't need two people to even make a person if you was
Right.
meant to be here by yourself. So, so in that, I feel like this is being okay with having all three. It's okay to talk to God and wait on whatever it is that he needs to tell you so you can move forward. Two, it's okay, especially in the Black community, to go talk to a therapist. That doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you vulnerable. Because I know, like you were saying, why would I talk to a stranger about my business?
Mm-hmm.
Half the time you talking to the wrong person about your
Right.
business. So I might as well talk to the man or the lady who by law can't go tell nobody else. So
Right.
that seems like a win-win for me. At least I know my business ain't going nowhere. And
Right.
then three, like you said, whether it's your family, a family member that you really trust, or a friend who has become more like family to you that you really trust and you can confide in, and they can be there. That's helpful because I can't remember the scripture, but I do remember there was someone going through things, and when the man came, when his friends sat with him, they didn't even talk. It was just the presence of them.
Joe.
So it's not, huh? Was it
That was
Joe?
Joe.
Okay, so it's not that you need someone to give you all the answers, right? But sometimes it's okay to just not want to sit alone. And I feel like with suicide rates being as high as they are, and people feeling more alone today than they did before, especially with like social media and other things like that, I think sometimes it's okay to say, I just want to cry with somebody, then sit by yourself. Because I also feel like when you sit alone, that allows the devil to just turn all your
Bruh.
wheels, just make everything that you're thinking feel like it's actual reality, that you're not wanted, that you're not needed, that you have no gifts, that God forgot about you, that it doesn't matter how hard you work, like you'll never amount to anything because who cares about you. So I think when you're putting all three of them together, I think it can become a powerful thing in healing your own self, and then being able to have your own testimony to reach other people. Because sometimes when I discuss things, I feel like depending on who I'm talking to, they be like, girl, I was going through the same thing, that was so helpful, I didn't think about it the way you did. And I be like, and
That
I'm over
happens
here
to me a
thinking I'm
lot.
mad tripping.
That be
And
happening to
so
me
it can,
too.
yeah. So I think it could be very helpful. So I thought this was a good topic, just because you want to have faith that the Lord's going to work it out in your favor, but don't shy away from being able to reach out to people that you trust. And I think that's okay too. So that's when I read the topic and then I thought about it, that's what I felt was
Hmm.
the biggest thing. But I will say, I do, and I still do. I still go to my friends. I still go to my sister and my mom, but I do try my hardest to pray about it first.
Right.
And then I'm probably still gonna tell my sister, but I do tend to tell myself, like, you should pray about it first, and to calm my own self down, because sometimes I can be very hype. And as we
Hmm.
all know, when you go through stuff, you call and then you just start ranting, and it be like, girl, that ain't got nothing to do. Cause right now, all it sound like it need is you need a nap and a little go get your ice
Right.
cream cone.
Like we kept saying, and even in the order that I put it in the note, like, because I don't know, like I read or I saw something. Okay, so on social media, I saw somebody say like, you don't need to be buying none of those motivational books. You don't need to be going to therapy. You don't need to do none of that stuff. What you need to do is pray about it. And so that's when I'm like, and that's what I'm saying, it's people like that that'll get you stuck in this mindset of like, you don't need nobody else. And granted, you don't need nobody else above God, but you do need other people. So I think it's very important that we keep reiterating the fact that like God is first. So like Brittany said, I'm gonna pray about it first, and then I'm gonna go yap about it. I don't. What is going to talk to my friend about it? Like, I'm not saying that they can't help in any kind of way, but if I'm really needing some miraculous miracle, my friend can't do that. So it's just like
Right.
going to the source that can really make the changes in your life that you're asking for, or give you that healing, that peace, that whatever that you're seeking. And I like that you brought up the fact of like black people being scared to go to therapy, people that may be struggling with suicide and stuff like that, because you never know what people are going through. So that's another thing. It's important to watch what you say, because you never know. And like also don't be too scared or shy away from the thought of sharing your experiences, because you don't know who else it could help. That's why it's called a testimony. Okay? Spread it. Tell the people and tell them how great God is and how he got you out of it. And it's not to say like, because I ain't gonna lie, for a moment in my life, I would be like, yeah, you're right. What is that motivational book gonna do for me? Like, another human being wrote it. Like, well, okay. And then I ain't gonna lie, I read a few motivational books. Y'all, sometimes they be saying the same thing. And so I just be like, okay, I get it, motivate, you know? But at the same time, it's just like, if you're reading that in place of the Bible, that's why you're not feeling the peace that you're continuously asking for. That's why
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, you can build that routine and to build how many days they say it take to build a habit. You can do all those things and still feel empty inside and still feel unhappy with your life and all these things. So I feel like that's what I had to learn of just being like, you can do all of that extra stuff because that's extra. But the first thing that you need to do is take it to God because maybe you can't do it by yourself. Okay?
No, and
You sure
then
can't do it without God.
right, but and then sit with it because I also feel like sometimes I talk to God like I said, but I will delay in talking to my sister not because I don't want her to know, but we tend to have the same thought process. And if I'm already thinking to myself, I know what I want to do, and she probably thinking, you know what, that sounds about what I would have done. It's like, okay, you're coming from a good place, but we trying to make a change, and changing or creating a new habit or finding different sources for whatever it is that you're going through. Those things are hard to do when you're trying to, like we talked about breaking generational spirits at what point. Those things are hard to do when you have no one who's ever done it. And then the people that you see on social media who have done it, one, probably don't look like you. And then two, you like, well, how you even got to that point? Because it's like, I'm starting here, you're already here, that's where I want to be, but it takes time to get up the mountain. You don't just be looking at the mountain and be like, you know what, yep, at the top. No, honey. Okay,
Right.
you gonna go through a few things. So I do feel like that's why it's okay to, you know, have different things in place. And like I said in the beginning, even with Job, sometimes it's not even that you're looking for someone outside of God to help you. It's just, I just need to be in the presence of someone else who, one, shares the same values, is, you know, has God at the center of their lives, and that just will sit with me, not judge me, not try to fix me. It's just, you're just solely being there. And I don't know, my birthday recently passed. It was just on Sunday.
Exactly. 2 days
But
ago.
I, I at one point was thinking to myself, dang, only my sister put a story, like, you know, pictures, because, you know, when it's somebody's birthday, that's all you see is all they friends that made all these stories, you know. And I was, at first, it was, but when I say it lasted for like a millisecond, y'all, a millisecond, I just was like, dang, that's the only thing I got on my story, that's the only thing somebody posted. But I don't know how many people FaceTime me, text me, like literally wanted to talk to me, and they knew, some people knew I had, well, Bree was planning something for me that I didn't know about. And so some people was like, oh, I didn't know if it was on your actual birthday or on Monday, so I ain't want to FaceTime you and mess up. You like, I got my voice message from my uncle, you know, because he be thinking he Barry White, okay? Yeah. Got the vocals. He freestyled for me this year. My boy was on it. And so I thought, wow, what a value it is, especially in the world of which we live in, where everything is like instant gratification. That the moment you feel something, the moment you talk to somebody, or the moment you pray, you feel like it's happened like that. And everything needs to be shown in front of an audience. And that wasn't the case. I was very content, and I felt like I had to, and I made no plans this year. Yeah.
Nothing. Keep going.
Yeah. And I feel like I had the absolute best birthday, and everything was done behind the scenes, you know? And I feel like sometimes, even now, it was this girl on Instagram, and I want to say somebody was doing a stitch of her, but her whole page was about anxiety. And I'm not saying you can't get on the internet and share that you have anxiety and it's something that you're battling with, and here are some tips and tricks and things that you've done. But I think we get so caught up in looking for the audience of the people versus, like me and Destiny have been saying, having those friends that you absolutely trust, or family members that you trust, having a therapist that you trust, and then having God at the center of all of that you could talk to. That now I'm setting up my camera in the midst of crying. Now, I done had a panic attack, and at no point did I think I had time to go get my camera, set it up. I'm about to cry and try to breathe at the same time. I'm already, the breathing is shallow, honey. I'm not worried about this phone. And I feel like you got to get to a point where you're not looking for an audience. You looking for God to help you and to heal you. And that sometimes come with you going into your own corners, going into your own closets, like people like to have like a little space where they pray. Or you just sitting with a friend in quietness and just finding your peace within that. And then you come out, and then if you want to share with the world, that's your business, but I just feel like everything is for show. And it's like, if it didn't get fixed now, and if how it did get fixed doesn't look how it got fixed for the other girl, then I did it wrong. Your life and her life, two different things. Whatever God has called that person to do has nothing to do with you. So baby, live your life, find the things that work for you in your healing journey. It's not the same for everybody at all.
But also, even if you are on a healing journey, or on any type of like learning to love yourself type of journey, whatever the case may be, I will say, like, as much as we're saying like be there, like seek help. Okay, maybe not seek help, but seek, what's the word? Community, seek, whatever the case may be, from your friends, your family, whatever. I do think sometimes it's okay to spend that time by yourself. Like, some days you do just need you and God. Like Brittany said, go in that closet, sit down, be quiet. You keep asking him for stuff, but you ain't even sat in the space to allow him to speak back to you or tell you what to do. You so focused on what you got to get off your chest that you're not even listening. So just like if I were to go to my sister and be like, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z, I'm not going to keep on yapping. I'm going to wait for her to respond. Like, even if it's not some advice I'm going to necessarily take, or maybe it's just like, I just need to vent X, Y, and Z, but she's still going to say something. That's the same thing with God. It's not, you can't go in that closet and just be talking the whole time. What kind of conversation is that? So I think you have to allow yourself that time and that space with you, just Jesus, which is you and God, and just have patience. Like, because I found myself in a season when I just, look, I ain't talked to nobody really. And if I talked to him, I wouldn't talk about, you would never know that I was really going through anything. Like, because I'm trying to figure this out on my own. I'm not saying that I don't feel like you can't help. But what I'm saying is, right now, this is a destiny, and God was saying, see your way out. I don't need that right now.
Bring on different things.
Yeah, and every season may just look different. So you have to find whatever it is that's going to work for you to help you in those moments. But I will say that it is very, very, like we're saying, share with people, X, Y, and Z. Yeah, your therapist can't tell your business, but you also don't want a therapist that have you and your therapist don't even agree on nothing. Get a new one. You over here venting to the friend who, let's say you're the friend that's like getting your life together. You're doing all these things. You're trying to get right with God and this and this and that. And he's have to say, eventually, look, I saw this. I don't know if you know the thing going around, but it's like, if I pray that prayer and I ask God to remove those people in my life and you one of them, whoop-de-doo. It's just like, I cannot sit here, like, every friend that you have is not on the same journey as you. So if I'm going through something and I'm trying to transform my life with God at the center of it, why am I going to the friend that's at the club every night? That's still my girl. She cool. But that is not the friend I need to be going to when I'm depressed. That's not the friend I need to be going to when I'm really needing somebody to help me get out of this dark space that I'm in. So find the right people, because they say, just wing it and tell anybody. Because it also says a righteous person, okay? Not just anybody. So pick the people that you choose to allow to help you on this healing journey wisely. Baby, one, I've had people in my life I would like share things with. Baby, it came back and bit me in the butt later. Like, okay, not telling you nothing else. Like, you was low-key praying on my downfall. Got it. You're weird. But it's just like, you have to find the right people. And like I said, you pray that prayer and they disappear, whoop-de-doo.
But this is why I think... But I think this is why we always preference starting with God first, because sometimes, and I'm not talking about other people because I know I have done it as well, when you have a thought process or something is going on, in the moment you think, because listen, I'm not for violence, but I don't know how many times I probably done looked at somebody and said, I slapped the taste out your mouth because you know. But right, and and that's just an example. But it's other things. If you just sitting and you thinking and then you say like, this is what you gonna do next to help yourself feel better, like you get like this feeling of like, well, maybe I shouldn't do it that way. Maybe it gotta be another way. Because you're pondering like, what is gonna be my next move to get me out of whatever it is that I'm going through, right? Mm-hmm. But I think sometimes when we think the wrong way and you already done had this feeling like you probably shouldn't go there, you go talking to the wrong person, then they say the same crazy thing you was thinking, and then you use it as that must be confirmation from God.
Y'all both cool.
No, that was not no confirmation.
God wouldn't have said that.
And this is why I think the title has all three, because sometimes you need all three. And sometimes you just, like we said, you just need to sit. Don't be so quick to react to everything, especially if the first reaction you have, it's probably going to end up in jail. You're going to have to think about it. You're going to have to apologize about it later. And like she say, in the Bible says a righteous person. So if the thing that the other person is saying doesn't even sound righteous, we already going down the wrong rabbit hole at this point. Because then as soon as you get caught up in further mess, or the things that you're trying to heal from is getting worse, where's that person going to be? Y'all in the same boat with holes in it, and they ain't got a paddle and they can't swim, so they definitely not helping you if you fall out. So what are we doing here? Baby, get out the boat. Just get out drop me off right here. I'm done. I'm not gonna be able to do it. This is ghetto. So I think you gotta be able to listen to your intuition, because I'm very impatient, and I think with like Tabitha Brown kind of being how popular she is, and it sounds like she moves in such a way like the Lord is just talking to her, and I still be like, so is his voice like real loud? Is it just like he gonna put something on a billboard and I just so happen to randomly see it as I'm driving to Houston? Is it just a sound? Is it quiet? First off, is that me talking or is that him talking? Because now I don't even know. But sometimes I sit long enough with some things, and even when I'm ready to make a move on something tells me like that may not be the best route. And then sometimes I still go with it because I'm like, well, God gonna see me through it. Yeah, drop, $5K. Knowing dang on well your paycheck is only gonna bring in K. That don't make no sense. Good.
Yeah, if some things are just dumb, don't do it. We talked about
just
that
don't do it.
Podcast.
Yes, get into your own intuition, trust yourself, and trust that God isn't going to leave you, because I think sometimes we do feel like our prayers fall on deaf ears because he doesn't just automatically come down and be like, yeah, do this today. That don't happen. Sometimes you come back 3 weeks later and you be like, dang. But I kid you not, it could be something so small, but I've been in times and places, and I both, and I was like, I don't know how we made it. I got laid off from my job during COVID, and I was pregnant, and I'm like, who fit to deliver my baby? they're gonna cut my insurance off before she's even due. And we have a mortgage to pay, and we can't, like, he, still was working a little bit, but then I had nothing. But everybody else, they was, praying that they okay, but like we never got a bill being late for our mortgage. Like they never came to say like, oh, we fixed to, you got to pay that extra money that Wells Fargo was going through that crap. I'm like, God still came through for us in that season. We were still at home eating chicken. Like we had normal paychecks, like nothing changed. And we were like freaking out trying to figure out how we were going to survive and take care of ourselves and our kids. And so sometimes you just also got to sit and think about the things that you have been blessed with instead of worrying a lot about what's not even in your control at the time. And I think that can sometimes help kind of bring you back down to reality for a little bit and remind you of how the goodness of God is still working in your favor. Even though you're going through something at the moment, doesn't mean that he's forgotten about you. It's just like, we're just going to gradually keep moving ourselves forward. It's not going to be instant, but we're going to get there. And that's sometimes how I calm myself down when I'm like, I did pray and I did do what my sister said. And I didn't even cuss out. I walked away. So I don't even
Yes, he is.
understand why it ain't happening now. Cause I'm out here being righteous. Sometimes it takes time, and and you just gotta stay on it. And so I think that would be like my biggest advice for people who are also like, I do all those things, and then I still feel like, you know, I'm being buried under. Sometimes I just have to remind myself, I have to reroute my brain and stop saying, oh, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have that. I need to this, that, and the third, and just remind myself like, my kids are good. I got a roof over my head.
Right.
I have food in my refrigerator. Like, those things are good. Like, I'm okay with this. And I can still work on that, but he's still blessing me to have this, because a lot of people really don't have it at all.
Right.
And the way this government is going,
Gonna have for a
a
while.
lot of people just don't have nothing. And I'm gonna leave that at that.
But I like you said, I like how you switched it into the whole, like, we were at first talking about like when things are kind of going bad, what you should do. But even when things are going good, it's still important to have the right people around you, because please don't only talk to God when life is good or when you just need something. You gotta do both. Because I was sitting while Brittany was talking, back to it says, are you suffering from hardships? You should pray. Are any of you happy? You should sing praises. Okay, you should not only going to people. That's like going to somebody, and the only time I hear from you is when you need something. Don't call my phone no more. Because now when I see your name come up, my phone on do not disturb for a reason. And you is disturbing me. And I don't have time, because I know you just want something. And it's like, yes, if I know that you're going through a hard season in your life and you just need somebody to talk to, okay, fine. I'm not saying I'm going to just leave you in the dark. But at the same time, you have to find the roses in the bushes of thorns, or whatever the case may be. You have to find something to be grateful for, because even if your life at that moment just seems like it sucks, you sitting here like you got a phone to call your friend to say that you sad. You got a house that you're living in. You have to learn to be grateful for the things that you do have, even in the season of feeling as though like whatever it is that you're praying for, it's a little delayed. Everything ain't on Amazon Prime. Okay, sometimes you got ways on back order. They making it.
It's on back.
So I just feel like it's important to, because if I'm happy and I want to share my good, like as much as I'm sad and I could go to somebody and share my bad news, I should have those same type of friends. Not saying that they should be different friends or separate friends, but I could go to my friends and be like, I'm sad, or I need help, I'm struggling. I could also go to my friends and be like, I feel great. And they're gonna help me, or they're gonna pour into me however it is I may need in those moments. But I don't feel like, even if you have a therapist, you should like go to therapy and you tell them what good has come. Like Brittany said, I did what you told me to do, X, Y, and Z. Look, I'm on the right track. I'm trying. Share those things, because if you're just coming to me and every day it's just poor me, you right. Mm-hmm. You getting on my like, dang. You don't want to be happy. Like, do you? I don't understand. So you have to just have faith, even in the good seasons, the bad seasons, whatever the case may be. Find something to be grateful for, because please don't just be a complainer. Please.
Right. And find solutions. I think sometimes, like Brie and I just had this conversation, and I was like, well, describe what a perfect day looks like for you. And so he was describing it. And then I said, so based on what you said, how can you make that happen right now? And of course he was like, well, I could do this and I could do that. But then he was like, I couldn't do this. And I said, okay, well, pause right there. So why can't you have that in the morning? And so we talked about it, and I was like, okay, so it sounds like you just get rid of this one thing, then you'll be able to do the things that you quote unquote think will give you this perfect morning, right? So let's try that. And I think for a lot of people, and this includes me too, is that you're constantly looking at, again, what you don't have, that you don't even sit long enough to dissect what it is that you want to change. But you got to realize that requires you to make the change. You can't pray about it and just be like, yep, I'm just waiting on the Lord. That's like saying you hungry and you the only one that live at the house, and you trying to figure out who fit to make the dinner.
Right. You just hoping that DoorDash leave the food at the wrong house.
So you have to sit sometimes and say, okay, I'm going down, I'm feeling down, I've been depressed, things are getting worse for me, and I know I can come out of this. Think, journal, get your thoughts out of your head and put them on paper. Sometimes it makes it make more sense, and then you realize, dang, I'm really tripping. It really ain't that bad. Okay, this is all we got to
Right.
do. It may require a little bit more work from you to get, out of that situation. But I think that's also a problem that we have nowadays, is that a lot of people don't want to work. Some people feel like, I'm this age, or I've done that one thing 3 years ago, so I should be good. That means nothing. But again, not judging, because I also was there. I have 2 degrees, got married, then I had my kids. So all the things that society is like, this is how you do it. Or, our mom would always be like, you got to have a degree, because, that's how you going to make your money. That's how you going to, you ain't going to have to live paycheck to paycheck like me and your daddy did back in the day, blah, 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 blah. And I felt like I did all of those things, and then I got to a point where I felt like I was living paycheck to paycheck. And I was like, I'm still living like, degree. I had a whole master's degree, and I still couldn't even find a job that was willing to pay me $50,000 a year. But then you got people, because you can't hire teachers, making 70. I went to school and Joe won't take these loans for why? Baby, this is ghetto. And so I would get very frustrated, with that, feeling like I quote unquote did it right. I prayed, I did this, I'm good to people. I tried to tithe and, do X, Y, and Z. But nowhere in the Bible does it ever say, do all the right things, you'll never see struggle. Right. You'll never see anything. I mean, how you get a testimony if you've never been tested on anything? How do you become stronger if you've never been tested on anything? And so I think we got to get ourselves out of the mindset of like, oh, it shouldn't happen to me. No, it very well can happen to you. Everything Brianna and I have, the way our kids are, we worked hard for. But I'm also blessed to have a village that when I am down, that they don't judge me and be like, oh, well, you got a master's degree, I thought you had it. Right. Like they'd be like, well, what you need? Or my mom, my parents are always like, hey, I know the girls coming up for school. I'm gonna send you some money to go help out buying shoes. They ain't buying everything, but it helps, Mm-hmm. So I'm thankful for my village, and it doesn't not make me less than, but I also had to learn that, because I definitely don't. Baby, I'm not asking for help. If I'm asking for help, I done lost the house and we sitting outside with a suitcase. That's right. That's how far I go.
Don't do that. That's the point of the episode. Don't wait till you ain't got nothing left to give to be like, I need help. You knew you needed help when the lights was out. Now the house gone all together. Oh, now you need help. Like,
and that candle, you can't even turn that little switch. No, off. It's done. You're done. Right. You're done.
We could have fixed that easy one problem, but now we got to find you a whole new house. I'm not understanding. We could have paid for the lights.
Right? Could have paid the light bill. Right. So now we got everything, because you ain't got nothing. That's crazy.
And I know, I wanted to say this, because we always say my mama this, my daddy this, my dad. Everybody don't have family they can depend on. But hey, that's when you go back to the first thing that we listed. God, okay? You pray. But I was just talking to Corey, like, okay, I done lived in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different states, right? And I just I'm 30. How am I supposed to make a friend? How am I gonna make a friend? One, I don't even like going nowhere. 2, I don't be talking to people. So it was just like how, like, the one friend that I ever made out of state was like, she texted, like, she literally asked me yesterday, you haven't found any friends? No, Ashley, I haven't. I haven't. Okay. You was the last. Right. I'm like, it's like, I don't know. I just, finding friends is a little hard, and I don't have nobody out here. So I'm praying for friends. Like, I'm not praying for friends. I'm praying for a good friend. I'm not the traveling friend. I don't need all of that. I just need one good friend that I could depend on while I'm here in this season of my life, because it gets hard when I'm doing, like, yes, I can call my friends, but I ain't gonna lie, when they be out and having fun and they, they live closer. I just be like, wish I could go. But Sage texted said they were having Friendsgiving this year, and I'm so excited. I'm going to that. So it's also important to, I'm so excited. So it's very important to like pray for the things that the people, the village, the whatever the case may be. You can go buy or pay for, have your insurance pay for a therapist, but it's also important to have good friends around you. It's also important, like, even if you don't have a mama, a cousin, sister, brother, whatever that you can call, pray for somebody.
Yeah.
You cannot do it by yourself. Go join a church. Find you a good friend. Don't be going to the club looking for the friends. So that way we said. Find the righteous friends. Okay? So
Yeah.
everybody is somebody out there for everybody. And I know they be using that saying mainly for like intimate relationships. But there are plenty of fish in the sea that could be your friend too. They're friend fishies. So you just gotta catch the right one.
Yeah, I just want to say this before we close out with what we're done with. And I don't know, it just came to me. But also, don't be afraid to find people outside of your quote unquote circle. And what I mean by that is, I've talked about it before. Like, me and my dad, and at some point we had a rough patch in our relationship, and a lot of times I cut a lot of people off. I didn't even cut them off. Like, you didn't, baby, you didn't get a chance, because I would be like, if I don't talk to my dad, I ain't gotta talk to you. And then who knows? Like, I felt like I could do it alone. And so it did end up leaving me in a place where when I moved to Virginia, I was alone. And then I really realized what it meant to be like, I have a common name. To hear somebody say Brittany and you don't turn around, that's crazy work. And Destiny, being from Lamar, like, if people don't know exactly our name, because I definitely have been called Destiny. I done been called Danielle, which is my cousin. But they'll be like, Doris and Daryl kids. And I'll be like, I can't do nothing. Because why you in my business? So I think in going into the ending of this, I would be done with saying that I have to have this friend. I have to have this. Pray for what it is that you're asking for. And when those things come to you, be open to accepting those things, and being okay with it. So that's what I'll say that I'll be done with as my camera blinks.
Okay, well, I'm done with the same thing because I ain't editing nothing else and I got somewhere to go. But no, for real, just be grateful for what you have. Look, now we talking at the same time, and I'm look, video over, because now I'm gonna have to edit all that out, because she want to talk when I'm talking, I want to talk when she talking, and that ain't how this works. So we done. See y'all later. Love y'all.
We love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all same time next week. I did it wrong.
There you go, girl. Peace. You did good, girl.
I think it's a charge. You come on. She got it's the me. And then she